Okay, so we're back with the base here, and I've cut the wheels off. These used to be right here on the ends of these. We cut those off, and I cut down the size of the pads on the end of it. And we'll be welding the drawbar right to these pads. They've all been cleaned up, and I 45 the corners so we can weld them in. And the bar's all set up now, so we'll be able to get that located, and then that'll get welded in place. Okay, so we got this all squared up, and I tacked it on. So you got it tacked on both sides, front and back. And we're using a 70-18 rod. So I got a really super high, about 60,000 psi. The weld's really nice and clean. And we'll get this welded up, and we'll be back. Okay, here's where we are so far. I've got this almost welded up. Getting really close here. You see here, we get that all tied in. 2 passes. Same thing here. And just going to finish this up, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, the welding's all done for the drawbar. You see that's all welded in place here. It's not going anywhere. It's a little damp out there, it's raining, so I get some paint on it. And so that's all finished up. Got all that welded all the way around those, nice and strong. And we'll be off to the next part. We're going to start putting the plate on the top, and we'll get the hub mounted, and then we'll start taking. Okay, now I've marked out some 1/4-inch steel plate. I have 2 9 1/4-inch squares. Mark the center. I'm going to center punch those and mark circles, and then we'll be cutting these out on the metal bandsaw, and then I'll end up putting bolts in them and throwing them on the lathe to clean up the outside edges. But these will end up being the top of the base and the spot with the hub here. There'll be a 4.5-inch hole cut in one of these, and then the hub will mount in the middle of that, and then the lower part here will mount on the base. And then on the top part will be the hoist coming up. So we'll get these cut out, and I'll be back. Okay, we get this mounted in the Bridgeport now, and we're going to do some cutting on this. Put a 4-inch hole in the middle of this plate. Alright, the first ring is done here. This is the one that was on the Bridgeport. We've got the 4-inch hole in the middle. I've cleaned up all around the edges of it. And now you can see that the hub will sit right down inside of that. Okay, I've taken some transfer punches right here, and I've already transferred the holes. You see here, the punches go right down through, so you can mark the holes in the plate below it. So I've punched those holes so I can drill the holes in that so we can bolt this thing in place. And then the other plate, once it's cleaned up, will go on top of it. And this whole unit will pivot with the hoist on top. And I'll make up a tool here to hold this in place so we can stop the pivoting when we want it to. But we'll get to that part later.